YouTube, it's Satch. Welcome back to the channel. It's a lovely sunny Thursday afternoon here in Newcastle upon Tyne. I'm in my Porsche 911 997 Carrera 4S, which is in speed yellow. Long-time viewers of the channel will probably know all about this car, but there has been a change, as you probably saw. If you follow me on Instagram, you may have saw a few weeks ago a reel that I put on, which did quite well. It was just basically, you'll see it on screen now, it was just basically a video of me in my garage changing a few things up on the car. But one of the common questions that I got about that video, or on that video, was to do with the wheels. The wheels on this 997, they kind of look like old Fuchs wheels. But I want to tell you that they are not Fuchs wheels. So really, I think what I wanted to tell you about is what the wheels are, because I think a lot of people were sort of trying to search for Fuchs wheels for a 997 and they weren't really getting any matches. So I'm going to tell you about these wheels now. So these wheels, they are made by a company in Germany called Kerscher, and they specifically do wheels for cars which didn't actually have, oh, there's Mo, the brother of Brian Johnson, in fact, from AC/DC. So there you go. He lives on the corner from me. So yeah, they're made by a German company. There's Callum. Made by a German company called Kerscher. 19-inch wheels, and they do give the car that kind of classic look. You will probably see as well that I've removed the wing again. I go through a bit of a love-hate process with that wing. It's currently off the car, and I think the flat deck lid kind of complements these Kerscher Fuchs style wheels. So I'm trying to get a little spot in the shade here because it's quite sunny today, but so we'll show you the tyres and the wheels. I bought these as a second-hand package off eBay, and I paid 2,200 euros for these. They're not the tyres that I would have chose myself, but because they came as a package, because the Kerscher company had already made these up, I think the story goes is that the Kerscher company, they'd made them for a customer, and then the customer had kind of changed his mind on them, so they'd put them up for sale to see if anyone was interested, and I seen them straight away and I was like, yes, I'll have those. So let's have a closer look at the rims and what tyres we've got on as well. So those are the fronts. In fact, what I'll do is I'll show you the rears first, because you can see there's such a big, deep lip and dish on the rears. Yes, I know I do need to get some black bolts. The silver bolts don't look great, but we're running 285 30/19 tyres, and these are Continental Conti Sport contact tyres. Car needs a clean as well. So they're the rears, and these are the fronts, 235 35/19s by the same brand, Conti Sport Continental tyres. Now, one thing I am worried about with these tyres is that it's probably no secret that there's just not a lot of protection, because these tyres are quite thin. Not a lot of protection here at all. So if we go around to the rear as well, just look at that. I've got to be so careful, and I think if I get one of these curbed, it's going to be goodnight Vienna for my wallet. I would not be looking forward to the cost of getting that done. But as the car looks as a whole, you know, I think it looks really nice, and I'd be curious to know what your thoughts are. Obviously, it does give it that classic 911 look. Not that I'm trying to make it an older car than it is, because it's starting to get old enough in its own right. So I kind of don't need to do that. It just does it all on its own. One thing also is that I'd like to show you. It's been a while since I've done a video on this car, actually. In fact, it's probably even been a couple of years, so I'm gonna have to make a video. I've looked through my old videos and I've never made a video on the things that I love and hate about the 997, so I'm definitely gonna do that over the next few weeks, I think. About a year and a half ago, I got the front end kind of re-sprayed. Well, initially the nose cone, and then kind of blended into the rest, because I had a new splitter put on the front. Long-time viewers will probably know that the front splitter on the front of my car was just in really bad shape. Now, look at it now. You may think, well, it's just as bad. Yes, it is bad. And that is because, ladies and gentlemen, we tried to buy a house. We had our house up for sale. We had an offer in, 2 viewings and an offer in on a house which was quite local to us. So it was an old 18th century cottage which built in the 1700s. We had an offer in, as I say. And I'll put it on screen now, but the house had like it had a driveway to the side where you had to sort of go round the back of the house to get all of your privacy. So the garage was there, all the parking area was in the back there, and the angle at which the highway, the road, met the curb was kind of like going like that a bit. So I said to myself, do you know what, before we fully commit to this house, I'm going to have to just double check that my cars can get on this driveway, because I was a little bit concerned. So what happened was I pulled onto the driveway, and then it completely scuffed that bottom bit there, and it actually sort of pulled all of this off. Well, it actually sort of dragged it under, which you can see. So if you imagine a high curb, it dragged this under, and then when I realised it was happening, I had to reverse off. And then it sort of scuffed all of the underside as well, and it's made a right mess of it. And in fact, it still isn't even on properly, to be honest with you. It probably needs pulling off completely. That's what she said. But other than that, you know, I mean, it's a used car. These cars aren't meant to be perfect. They're meant to be driven. And if they've got the odd scuff on it or the odd mark, then who really cares? So the sun's still out a bit, but it's starting to rain, which is just typical, because every time I decide to do one of these videos, I think it starts to rain. But the next little segment might come as a little bit of a surprise for you. I've been interested in getting another classic car. Now, those of you who watch the channel regularly may well know, well, you may have missed the last video that I put out on one of my new classic cars. It's a 1988 Porsche 911 air-cooled 911 with the G50 gearbox. It's a beautiful car, so if you haven't saw that one, the video's live on YouTube now. But I am interested in getting myself another little classic car, and that's where I'm heading down to right now. There is an auction house which is about 10 miles away from where I live, and in 2 days' time there's I think they've got about 203 cars going across the block, and they're all like kind of specialist classic cars, really nice cars. But one of them has piqued my interest, so we're going to get over there now, and if I like the look of the car that I see today, then I might be back in 2 days' time to actually have a bid on the car, which I think they're just cool little things, like nothing I've ever had before. But they piqued my interest a couple of years ago, and I started looking into them and thinking to myself, I'd really like one of those. And now here one is coming up for auction a few miles away. So I'm going to get down to the auction house and let's have a look. It's like a gentleman's playground in here, and there is a car that I'm looking for. I haven't seen it yet. Let's have a little look around first. 997. Ooh, 993 convertible. It's interesting. R9 ETK. That's a bit of alright. Parked there next to that 997. Now these are cool, man.
I bet you those seats are unbelievably comfortable. Somebody with massive testicles and a huge penis, so virile they've ripped the seats. Did you record that? It's what? Don't put that on YouTube.
I am interested in that, but that's not what I'm here to see. Got a thing for German estates. Look at this. Daily driver. 968 CS Club Sport. Could it be this? Could this be the one that I've come to look at? Oh, that's very nice. But it's not the one I've come to look at. Got a yellow Mini, matches the 911, red one, and then what's this? Fiat 126 Base. I'll tell you now that this is the car that I've come to look at. That, to me, is absolutely beautiful. Engine all looks pretty clean. It's a water-cooled 650cc engine. Well, from one European legend to another, yes, I'm talking about Fiat, and no, I'm not talking about Greg's. I am in fact talking about, I'm gonna pop that in there, these Biscoff Lotus biscuits. I'm thoroughly addicted to them, and this channel is not going to turn into a food blog or anything like that, but so it was a little bit rough, to be honest with you. When you look at a car like that, you think, yeah, it's probably about 35 years old. It is, it's 1991. It doesn't feel like it's that old. But it didn't look like a car made from the 90s, and the condition didn't really reflect that either. The guide price is £2,000 to £3,000, which, you know what, it's for nothing really. A little bit of a classic icon for £2,000 or £3,000, where you could drive it, enjoy it for a year maybe. Probably not the right time of year to be buying it, because we're sort of heading into the autumn and the winter. Well, maybe it is the best time to be buying it because people are going to be getting rid of it, so it would be ready and I could do a few jobs on it for next year. £2,000 to £3,000 though, have it for a year. You know, you can put it back in the auction in a year's time. Would you lose much? You know, even if you lost 500 quid, it doesn't really matter. You've had a good summer's worth out of it. It's just a good feel-good little fun car. Not a Porsche, but you're not paying Porsche money. So 2 days later, we're back at the auction house. The car estimate was between £2,000 and £3,000. I would have probably been willing to go up to around about £3,500, but at the start of the auction, I'd spotted an oil leak in 2 different places, which could be costly, so I've set my new maximum bid at £3,000.
For you little Fiat 126 Bs, like 86, telephone bid is ready. 2250 we start. Low start there, 2250 for the Fiat at 22.5 B. At 2250, 25, 2005, 750 on the net. 2750 bid. 2750 bid. Hold on at 2750. £3,000. 3,000. See in the room first. At £3,000 bid. At £3,000, the hammer's up at 3,000. Net, you're out. Phones are out. £3,000. 3250. 3250 bid. 3250, thank you sir, 3250 middle end, 3250 hammers up. It's on sale and going, 3250 once, twice, done. Sure sir, number 219.
Yeah, I'm a little bit gutted that I missed out on this, but if anything, it's further fueled my fire for buying one of these little gems. I'll keep my eyes open and hopefully pick one up at some point. That's it for today guys, see you next time.